Axel Annie by Robin Pulver. Pictures by Ted Arnold. In the town of Bercyville, the luckiest kids rode on Axel Annie's school bus. Axel Annie did magic tricks. She told jokes and sang silly songs. The kids couldn't wait to see her every morning and hear her cheerful call, "Get on up these steps before I leave without you." Winter packed a wallop in Burkittsville. Whenever a storm came up, the superintendent of schools, Mr. Solemn, telephoned Axel Annie. "It's nasty out there, Annie," he'd say. "Think you can make it up Taggart Hill? If you say no, I'll close the schools. My decision depends on you." Taggart Hill was Axel Annie's bus route. It was the toughest hill in Burkittsville, but Axel Annie's reply was always the same. "Mr. Solemn, do snowplows plow? Do tow trucks tow? Our school bus is yellow. Of course I can make it up Taggart Hill." And she always did. That's why the school in Burkittsville never had a snow day. Shifty Rhodes hated that. Shifty was the nastiest school bus driver in Burkittsville. At every meeting of the Grouch and Grump Club, Sniffy complained about his job, especially in the winter. He grumbled about having to get up early to warm up his bus. He fussed about trucks sloshing slush all over his windshield. He bellyached about boots that made puddles on the bus. "And I never, ever get a snow day," he always said, always because of that Axel Annie. One rip-roaring winter morning, Axel Annie's phone rang. "It's blizzard out there, Annie," said the superintendent. "Think you can make it up Taggart Hill? If you say no, I'll close the schools. My decision depends on you." "Mr. Solomon," Axel Annie replied, "do snowplows plow? Do tow trucks tow? Our school bus is yellow. Of course I can make it up Taggart Hill." Shifty Rhodes was still in bed. "And now for the school closings," he announced his radio. "Every town in the 5-county area has closed except schools for one, and that is—" "Don't say it," pleaded Shifty. "Burkittsville," said the radio. "All because of Axel Annie," grumbled Shifty. He bundled up and headed for his bus. Axel Annie was already on her way. When Taggart Hill loomed ahead, she called out, "Hold on to your earmuffs." "Gun the engine," shouted the kids. "Put your pedal to the metal." Axel Annie did, and she roared up Taggart Hill, past all the ditched vehicles and stranded drivers. At the top, she stopped as usual and called back to the snowbound drivers. "Get on up these steps before I leave without you." They rode along with the kids to school, where they telephoned for tow trucks to pull their cars out of the snow. Of course, Shifty Rhodes was in a terrible mood that morning. When the kids on his bus got the least bit noisy, he yelled, "You drive me crazy!" And the kids would yell back, "You're the one that's driving, not us!" Shifty was all still mad when he ventured out that night to the Grouch and Grump Club. But then a miracle happened. A new member announced himself. "This is Hale Snow. Snow's my name and snow's my game." Hale explained that he was the new owner of the Burkittsville ski resort. "Business is bad," he grumbled. "I even bought a new snowmaking machine, but who needs it? It just sits on my truck like a bamboozled bump on a blizzard-blasted log. The best days for me are snow days when the kids head for the slopes because school's closed. But the snow-blasted schools here never close." After the meeting, Shifty Rhodes collared Hale Snow. "You know why we never get a snow day?" he said. "Axel Annie, that's why." And Shifty told Hale all about Axel Annie and Taggart Hill. "Snarlin' snowflakes!" exclaimed Hale. "There must be something we can do." "Maybe there is," said Shifty, "with that snowmaking machine of yours." "I get your drift," said Hale. "Just say the word, and I'll haul my machine over to Taggart Hill. We'll whomp up such a storm there, not even Axel Annie can make it up the hill." "Whoopity-doo!" shouted Shifty. The very next Monday morning, Axel Annie's telephone rang. "Annie," said Mr. Solomon, "it's the storm of the century. Think you can make it up Taggart Hill? If you say no, I'll close the schools. My decision depends on you." "Mr. Solomon," replied Axel Annie, "do snowplows plow? Do toe tucks toe. Our school bus is yellow. Of course I can make it up Tiger Hill. Meanwhile, Shifty Rhodes was peering outside into a howling whiteness. Yippee! He shouted and telephoned Hail Snow. No school in its right mind should be open today. It's a wing-dinger of a storm, Hale agreed, and my machine will make it 10 times as bad on Tiger Hill. Annie will never make it up. Meet me there and watch the fun for yourself. Icy snow stung Shifty's face as he plodded his bus. Finally, he revved up the engine and drove into the storm. Shifty's bus slithered and slid its way to Tiger Hill. Then suddenly, Shifty caught sight of something on the road. He leaned on his brakes, but the bus skidded and bucked and plowed right into whatever it was. Sled bustin' snowflakes, Shifty, hollered Hail Snow. You clobbered my snow-making machine. Shifty apologized, but he couldn't feel too bad. Hail Snow's machine had turned Tiger Hill into a monstrous mountain of swirling snow. As Axel Annie's bus approached Tiger Hill, the kids yelled, Yikes! Hold on to your earmuffs, Annie called. Gun the engine, Annie, shouted the kids. Put the pedal to the metal. Axel Annie tried, but near the top of the snowy hill, the wheels spun. The engine strained. The bus was stuck. You can do it, Annie, the kids yelled. But for the first time ever, Annie wasn't sure she could. Would the Burkittsville schools close after all? Then suddenly the bus seemed to sprout wings. Slowly and gently it glided up, up, up to the top of Target Hill. Hooray! Shouted the kids. Axel Annie looked around. It wasn't wings that she saw. It was all the stranded drivers that Annie had helped so many times before. Thanks a million, shouted Annie. Now get up on these steps before I leave without you. Then Annie looked again and saw 2 snowmen trudging up the hill, Shifty Rhodes and Hail Snow. When Annie saw the mangled snowmaking machine down below, the whole mean plot came to her in a flash. Axel Annie gunned her engine, but Shifty and Hail looked so miserable she couldn't be mad. Oh, get on up these steps, she yelled. Before we leave without you, hollered the kids. Shifty Rhodes had to pay all the money in his piggy bank to fix his school bus and the snowmaking machine, and then he skedaddled out of town and got a job on a cruise ship. Hail Snow was sorry he'd ever gotten mixed up with Shifty Rhodes. He thought Axel Annie was a humdinger of a woman. In fact, his business doubled when he named a new ski slope after her. Whenever kids head for that steep, scary slope, they ask each other, Do you think we can make it down safely? The answer was always the same. Do snowplows plow? Do tow trucks tow? Our school bus is yellow. Of course we can make it down Axel Annie's slope. And they usually did. Axel Annie by Robin Pulver. Pictures by Ted Arnold.